Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Boleh dengar tak suara saya?
Boleh, jelas.
Boleh. Okey, terima kasih. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih banyak-banyak kepada semua yang berkesempatan untuk mengikuti webinar ni yang mana ia dianjurkan oleh Natural Product Research Group under Fakulti Sains. Yang mana pada webinar kali ini, julung-julung kalinya, kita nak bincangkan satu tajuk yang saya rasa tidak asing lagi di kalangan semua ahli akademik, iaitu tajuk panjang dia, Scientific Writing Workshop, A Guide to Getting Published in High Impact Journal. Jadi ia berkisar tentang penerbitan, dan sekiranya para pensyarah semua ada student, master atau PhD yang berkelapangan sekarang ni, bolehlah dijemput sekali sebab mereka memang terlibat secara langsung dalam penghasilan manuskrip. Okey, apabila kita bercakap tentang high impact journal, biasanya ia merujuk kepada artikel ataupun jurnal Q1, Q2. Betul Dr. Zainul? Okey. Dan untuk publish dekat high impact factor journal ni ataupun high impact journal bukanlah satu perkara yang mudah. Setiap orang lain cara dia. Contohlah macam saya kan, saya cerita sikit lah sebelum kita bagi kat speaker. Biasanya saya buat berdasarkan 3 step. Pertama, saya akan identify jurnal mana yang saya nak publish. Okay. Yang kedua, saya akan mulakan buat manuskrip according to the journal format. Dan yang ketiga, submit. Okay. Dan for a while, kita akan dapat dia punya feedback daripada editors ataupun reviewers. Dan most of the comment tu memang berbentuk kecaman lah. Kecaman ataupun hentaman, kita pun telan je lah daripada situ. Dan daripada kecaman tu, actually saya belajar. Saya belajar improve from time to time. Itu cara saya lah. Dan dalam webinar ni, kita akan mendatangkan seorang speaker untuk cerita dengan lebih terperinci, mengupas dengan lebih teliti lagi tentang strategi untuk publish dekat high impact journal. Jadi untuk itu kami telah menjemput Associate Professor Dr. Zainul Akmal Zakaria, Associate Chair. Beliau adalah naib pengerusi di Sekolah Kejuruteraan Kimia dan juga Kejuruteraan Tenaga, Fakulti Kejuruteraan UTM. Jadi secara peribadi saya mengenali beliau. Beliau memang banyak terbitkan artikel-artikel yang berimpak tinggi ini. Dan bukan setakat artikel jurnal, bahkan buku-buku turut diterbitkan di peringkat antarabangsa. Jadi mungkin next time kita boleh jemput Dr. Zainul untuk cerita pasal buku pula. Untuk sesi ni kita fokus kepada jurnal artikel. Okey, tanpa membuang masa, Dr. Zainul dipersilakan untuk menyampaikan pengisian.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi semua. Boleh dengar ke?
Okay, boleh, jelas.
Alright, Fatah, shall I do it in bahasa ke macam mana tu?
You can do both ways.
Ya, sebab
yes. Ada international
saya tak pasti.
Saya pun tak pasti. Yes.
Saya cubalah ya. Okay. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Fatah and his group, National Product Research Group from Faculty of Science UTM, for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit of, I would call it as tips, because the title given to me was guide. Guide me was a very big word. I don't have the authority. Don't talk about confident the authority to present all of you with some guides. So I would just like to give some tips, mostly based on personal experience and how to get ourselves and our self means our work to be published in some of the journals, notably in those that with have impact factors. All right, so myself, I'm Zainul Akmal Zakaria, and together with Dr. Azman Hassan, he's now a retired ATM professor, just retired. So together we have come up with this some informations that hopefully can be of use to some, if not all of us, when trying to submit our manuscript later. All right, so always in my talk, I would give, or in my class lecture, or my talk, I would give some disclaimer. Yeah? So this is actually not the be-all thing, because if you like search in the internet, you just Google or you go to SlideShare, YouTube, you'll find hundreds of tips, hundreds of guides, hundreds of ways on what we can choose from to craft, to draft our manuscript, our work, turn it into some form of writings. You draft it in such a way that you send to some journal and get it published. There are many informations available. So this is again some of the tips which I can share based on my personal experience. Yeah. So overall, what publishing is all about? It is about we publish because we have something to share, and most of the time is something that is already there, but you find some way or some new information, some new angle to look at it, and you did it by having some structured ways in the laboratory, for example, in your workplace, for example, to getting some data, using some methodologies, and this data you can analyze, discuss, and also turn it into some writings, and you want to tell people what is it all about. So this is basically if you're doing R&D, this is an ultimate form of research output. It's publication. There's other ways of research output, such as you turn it into some useful products. But definitely these products cannot be made if you don't have any initial findings in the laboratory. Okay, so one of the ways, basically, if I can say that publication is one of the earlier way of how you can share your research output. At the same time, you want to share what you have gained or generated in the laboratory. Also to benchmark our research finding. This is very important. Because you don't want to say that, look, I've done the breakthrough of the century, right? Look, my lab and my students, we are now the #1 here and there. But in fact, what you have come up with actually have been reported much earlier by other researchers somewhere else. So how do we know about this? The easiest way is to send your work to some journal, some publishing house, for it to be reviewed by experts, of course, and they will give their sincere comments. Most of the time, all the comments are to improve your work, to improve your R&D overall, basically. All right. So for students, basically, if you are preparing your thesis or dissertation, publication basically would help you later on to have a better thesis. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't move. All right. So publication, what do I have here? Okay, there are many types of scholarly publications. You have index journals, two of the biggest ones are categorized broadly as Web of Science, and also those are Index and the Scopus. These two are under publishing house. You also have the non-index journals. Basically we can categorize it, those which are others than these two. We also have conference proceedings. Conference proceedings also, you can get it indexed. You can apply for it to be indexed in these two publishing house. Then you have chapter in book. Okay, chapter in book is basically more or less like if you're doing some literature review. Yes, you put some more critical analysis on it, you can turn it into some chapter in book publication. So you also can do original book, yeah, research book. You can or known as research book. We have some edited book, patent, yeah, your intellectual property, yeah, or thesis. I think most of us here who are in this session now have done or have had the opportunity to carry out some experiment and turn into thesis in one way or another in our students' lifetime, and also your research reports. Yeah, sometime when you did some when you're doing some work with the stakeholders. Yeah, at the end of the engagement, you are required to submit some report, and this is also one of the forms of your scholarly publication. Okay, so what is an index journal? I'm going to go through very briefly. Okay, maybe I forgot to share during my introductory statement just now. This is actually not like a workshop, yeah. So if it's in a workshop, you can have like a hand-to-hand, hands-on session. Okay, we can discuss directly. So that is for me. It's not suitable for a big audience like this. It's more suitable for a smaller audience where you can have a much focused conversation. All right. So in this talk later, I'm going to share. It's going to be like some brief information. Yeah, what index journal is all about, what publishing is all about, how you structure your manuscript, but not in depth analysis. Yeah. All right. So what is an index journal? So it's very easy. It is when its bibliographic and citation information is included by the citation data supplier. This is what I mentioned just now. It's either by Scopus or it's either by Web of Science. Okay. So why is bibliographic and citation information is important? Because when you do, when you're working in the laboratory, you're going to use some sort of methodologies. You need some reference materials. Okay, these reference materials are normally journals which have been published. You can get it also from books, from patents. But the most important thing is that you want to quote it later. You want to refer to it later, because when you presented your work, you cannot just present it just like that. People might ask, where do you get the methodology? How do you derive your methodology? So you cannot just say that I got it just by discussing with my students. All right. So you need to have some sort of methodology, because why is it important? Because it has been the published material has been scrutinized, it has been reviewed by experts, it has been published. It means it is now valid for you to more or less extract some of the methods, and also, if possible, to improvise something. Yeah, because later on we will see in the methodology section the importance of using amended methodology. It has been slightly amended, slightly improved. Yeah, because if you just use the published methods, it would not be publishable materials. I remember the earlier slide, which when I mentioned you want to share something, basically some new addition, some new knowledge to the currently existing information that we have. Yeah, so you do research because you want to add. Okay, it doesn't have to be 100% new. You can add any angle you want. The research gap you can add. That's what we do. Yeah. So for research university, the citation data supplier is either Scopus under Elsevier, or Web of Science, which is now under the Clarivate business group. Yeah. Basically their data analytics business. So JCR is Journal Citation Reports. JIF is Journal Impact Factor. Web of Science, one of Clarivate.com business portfolios. Yeah, there are a lot of business portfolios, and one of them is under scientific and academic research. So they are providing service, yeah, data service, data analysis service, which includes number of times the paper being cited, yeah, number of times your paper will be used by somebody, will be downloaded, yeah, and will be cited in new publications. So this would account for the impact factor. So if we can look here, impact factor can be literally like represented such as this. So very easy for this year's, for example, for this year's impact factor in 2021, the calculation is it is between the total number of citation for the past 2 years against total number of papers in 2019 or 2020. For example, if the impact factor is 5, so you basically know that the journal would have around 10,000 citations for the past 2 years, and it has published 2,000 papers. Yeah, meaning for every paper they publish, 5 times it will be cited in new publication. That's why it is important. This is directly would indicate in terms of the impact of the paper, basically the impact of the journal itself. Yeah, so so impact factor very much related to the number of times a paper is being cited, and also against the number of papers, right? So you can read more on the impact factor by using this link down here. Yeah, I got this from our librarian yesterday. Thank you very much, Puan Sharana, for sharing with me some information on this. She's our expert on this, yeah, UTM's expert on this, Puan Sharana. Thank you very much, Puan. Click. All right, why you submit to a journal with impact factor? All right, if you can do some very simple relationship, yeah. Again, you have to remember that IF, journal impact factor, are those who are indexed with Web of Science and the Clarivate. Those without impact factor, and also some of it also impact factor are indexed by Scopus, by Elsevier. Yeah. So all proposing, all are big proponent of clear, transparent review process, yeah, a very thorough review process, and the process is all there for us to see, to benchmark later. There's no, it is not what we call as bogus or predatory journals. Yeah, so that's that's why it's best for us to consider these two publishing house or these two indexing body for us to send our journals, because of the process involved. Yeah, the process is normally well structured and acknowledged by, if not all, most of the scientific bodies in the world. Yeah. So why submit to a journal with impact factor? If published, you can get better visibility. Why? Because some of it are subscription based, and some of it are also open access. So if you publish under this publishing house, it can get your work to reach many more people compared to those who are not indexed, who are two journals who are non-indexed. So better visibility means higher credibility. So incentive would come later. Let's not talk about it now. However, if your paper is rejected, like what Dr. Fatah mentioned just now, most of the time the comments can get you down, yeah, for 2 or 3 days. I used to be like that when I was in my student years. Now, no problem. I get 2 or 3 rejections. I can send to some other journal. There are thousands of journals out there. No worries, right? So if rejected, these can be available experience with free useful reviews. What you can do if you get a rejection, you see what they are commenting about, right? So these comments you can use to improve your paper to submit to another journal. Right, so fret not. So because there are thousands of journals out there that can accept, hopefully accept and publish our work. Yeah. So yes, if you have a lot of things to publish, you can also consider to publish in both, in WOS as well as in Scopus. Yeah, depending on the, for me, the content and quality of the manuscripts. So what are the factors to consider in the journal selection? These are some of our suggestions. Our means myself and Dr. Azman. Choose journal with a proper peer review process, and the editorial decision-making process is also made known to us. Okay, some of the journals, normally the new ones or the one who are really are there to make some money out of us, they ask some high payment from us, yet they can guarantee, the word is guarantee, to be published within 2 weeks. Okay, for a journal, for it to use the word guarantee, normally you can already gauge that it would not be a good journal for you to publish. Why? Because again, because the whole publishing process is a peer review process. There's no way the reviewer can guarantee, there's no way the editor will guarantee that it will accept and get your paper published. Yeah. So definitely, if everything is clear, in order, in terms of peer review, editorial decision making, then that will be a good journal for you to choose from. Then look at the rejection rate. Okay, some very high journal with high impact factors has high rejection rate. Why? Not because they don't like your paper, because they only have limited number of spaces available in their issues, number one. And number two, of course, to maintain the high impact factor, they will only allow high quality, papers to be published. High quality, sometimes it can have a different perspective. One of it, number one, is definitely it has to bring something that can enrich the reader's current knowledge on the subject matter. So that's why, because if the reader find that it's new, it's beneficial for them, they will use the information in that paper in their publication and get it published later. So when their papers are published, it will be cited, and that will increase the citation number of the journal. That's why most of the time the rejection rate for high impact factor journals are quite high compared to the other types of journals. Yeah, I forgot to mention for this impact factor normally will be categorized as in terms of 4 quartile. We have the quartile 1, or simply called as Q1, quartile 2, Q2, quartile 3, and quartile 4. Yeah. So all these are journal impact factors. Is just that the immediacy of publication, the number of citation per papers is higher if you go along the list. Yeah. All right. So the higher the position of the journals in the list, the higher the impact factor. All right. So it will top 25 out of 100 we call as Q1. Yeah. So that's a very good journal for you to choose, for you to consider to publish. All right. So another factor to consider journal selection is reference. Your manuscript, yes, this is very useful if you are using the paper as your reference when you write, meaning the subject matter that you are proposing is already has track record in the journal, in that particular journal. So very easy. So if the journal accepts subject matter such as what you are doing, which you are citing now, there's a very high chance for it to publish also your work. Yeah, so use the reference. You can choose to use the reference in your manuscript as the when you want to select for which journal to send your manuscript to. Okay, so recent papers published in the journals, author's profile. Okay, journals we have published before, definitely. Open access and processing fees. Yes, if you have lots of money, please, by all means, shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, go for OA, open access journals. Yeah, shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. So journals availability, some journals, they are published quarterly. Yeah, some are published monthly, some are published twice every month. So all these are information that you should consider when you want to send, because definitely you want your work to be published quickly. Yeah. So, but not too quickly, not in 1 week, because normally in 1 week it will be not a thorough review process. Yeah. Yeah. Now we can go along the way later. Okay, instruction to authors, words limit, pay special attention to all this. Okay, and also there's also some consideration for you to publish in a special issue. A special issue is actually a dedicated issue with a thematic, a specific thematic publication. Yeah, so for me, there's no problem for us to send our articles here, because you're not competing against like-minded people. Not competing, you are sending your manuscript to be considered by the editor. Now the editor only need to choose only, let's say, 30 submissions, rather than if it's an open issue, it needs to, where the paper submission is much higher. Okay, so please go through this again. Never mind, I'll share this slide later. If you find it useful, you can use it and when you want to publish a paper later, right? Okay, some of the criteria, scope of journals, okay, not to be taken lightly. Some good papers were refused for publication by the editors, not because it is not good, because it is not within the scope of the journal. Okay. And also time for publication. We don't, again, like I mentioned in previous slide, our aim in publishing is for it to be published quickly. So we can also opt not to publish in journals with a long period of processing. Like an example here, you submit in January, it'll get accepted in September. That's like Q1 until Q3, yeah. So I don't think it can be published this particular year. So try to find journals with quick turnaround time, such as this one is just some examples. This 2 months submit in March, you get it published in May. Yeah, that's pretty quickly. And also there's some maybe journal with who sits at the very top of the ranking in its area, like this particular journal. Yeah, you will be notified whether you get you need to review, you need to revise, or be accepted or rejected within 1 week. Yeah, so yeah, this is see, because the review time is around 2 weeks only. After that, the process is very, very quickly. And if you look here, there's an asterisk for APC, because this particular journal doesn't require you to pay to publish, but you have the options. If you want to make your paper available to everyone, you can choose the open access options. Yeah. So there are journals who will tell you within 1 week, yeah, whether your paper will be considered for publication or not. Yeah. So how to find suitable journals for you? You may opt to use some of these examples. Yeah, Scopus, Springer, and also Elsevier provide such service. Okay, I've taken around half an hour just talking about that. So never mind, I'll try to speed up. So enough of that. So how do you prepare your manuscript? I've sectioned it into preparing your manuscript. Then what else? Must prepare things up. Then we just go along, right? Oops. Okay, this is a basic structure of manuscript. Yeah, all manuscript would contain title. Okay, of course, list of authors and affiliations. Okay, abstract, introduction. I forgot to put their keywords. Yeah, between abstract and introduction, there will be keywords. Normally, it's within 4 to 6 words only. Abstract introduction, then you have M&Ms, material handling, then just R&D, result discussion, you have the conclusion section. Okay, if you write review paper normally before conclusion, or you can merge the conclusion with future outlook. Yeah, because for review papers, normally they want, it is required at the end of your review. So how do you see things going? Okay, so they want you to prepare some, it's not much, around 1.5 paragraphs, yeah, maybe 20 lines, 15 to 20 lines about how do you see things developing in the particular area that you are reviewing, yeah. But if you're writing the normal technical paper, conclusion should be enough, yeah. So then after conclusion, you have the acknowledgement section. All journals require you to properly address this particular section of acknowledgement. Basically, now they even have specific section for you to key in. Key in what? Key in the funding agency for your work. Okay. Yeah, then also the last one is a reference. Just follow the reference style for the journal as required. Okay, what about the title? So the title is actually very important because it is what your paper is all about. Okay, remember, after this, it will be reviewed and read and commented upon by experts in your area. So be careful on how you write your paper because it will tell from the title, basically experts will know what is it all about. So what you shouldn't do is write something which is not according to the content of your paper. All right. There are some cases that a paper didn't get through the review process because of this kind of representation. I wouldn't call it as a mistake, misrepresentation, yeah, of the titles. Yeah. So a good title should be, this is only my suggestion, myself and Dr. Azman's suggestion, yeah. A good title should be concise, specific, and most relevant to the subject matter. Okay, concise means because you're only like what? Here, the last bullet, less than 15 words. You're not writing what headline for advertisement. No, only less than 15 words only. Concise, specific, and most relevant. Okay, able to attract attention. Okay, however, okay, try not to use the over ambitious words such as you are writing a technical paper, but you are saying that your results can address the global scenario. Wow. Okay, so it's good. Your courage, yeah, your courage is very much recommended, but depends on what you're writing. If you're writing a technical paper, avoid words such as this. Yeah. Then then what should do? Focus on more specific or realistic words if you need to. For example, the Malaysian perspective, the Malaysian experience, yeah, tropical setting. I put it here. Try to highlight our strength means our regional. We are where we are now. Yeah, our geographical location. Because if you try to share what we have here, the probability for it to be published is higher compared to if you try to highlight strength in other places. Yeah. So try to highlight our strength and also highlight the most important issue or technical approach that you are addressing. You can also do this in your title. For example, if you are doing computational work that relates to structural analysis, you can always put the word titles structural analysis of what. Okay. Yeah, if it leads to mechanism or something, yeah, it'll be better. Yeah, straight away, direct the reader's attention to what you have in your content from by having a concise and very specific words in your title. Yeah, so avoid abbreviations. Yeah, if you are working with production of sugar which is not sweet, okay, you put there less sweet or non-sweet sugar, NSS, you put that as title. Only you know what NSS is all about. Yeah, it's not that everybody knows, so avoid using such abbreviation which is not common in the scientific community. Right, again, try to make it in less than 15 words. Where's my cursor? Here it is. So who should be included as authors? Remember, after title just now, the structure, the title, then you have the authors and its affiliations. Who are the authors and who should be the corresponding author? Okay, authors, if we can suggest here, the students, the supervisor, the co-supervisor, the co-workers with significant contribution in your work. Yeah. Co-workers with significant contribution means, for example, you have a sample that you are analyzing using electron microscopy. Okay, and the operator of the electron microscope not just taking images of your sample, but also give some suggestion. Okay, this image could be due to what? Okay, this fuzzy area in the micrograph is due to what? Yeah, for me, if there is, for me, this is my personal opinion, if just taking image is not a significant contribution, but taking image with some inputs and you'll be using the inputs in your paper, that can be considered as a co-worker. Shouldn't be a problem. It's a win-win situation. Yeah. So would be the yeah, for students, yeah, don't forget to put your SV and co-SV's name. Yeah. Even though it's very unlikely, but there are cases student did not put their supervisor's name. So this is not acceptable, yeah, in terms of publication ethics. Okay. So for students out there, if you're watching this, do please include your supervisor's name and co-supervisor's name in your paper. Don't worry, you will be the first author. Okay. So who would be the corresponding author? So normally corresponding author is the person with the most authority about the subject matter. Why? Because his or her email will be available on that particular paper. So anybody anywhere in the world, if they want to know more about the paper or they want to comment, they have some opinions about your paper, they will contact the email stated in the paper. So imagine if the email, so this is normally who will be, so this person normally either the project leader or the supervisor of a student, or the student, which is very rare, you need to get approval from SC because this person would answer to queries from anyone about the subject matter. Imagine if it's only a first year student, semester 1, who are yet to read more than 100 papers for his thesis, trying to be the corresponding author, he or she might not answer correctly to queries anywhere. Yeah, that would reflect in the credibility of the whole institution. So let's try not to get ourselves involved in this kind of situation. Yeah. So for students, don't worry, bide your time, you'll get your chance later. Inshallah, you'll be given a chance to be corresponding author as well. Okay, so the rest where to put, like I mentioned just now, is for electron microscopy, they just take the image, but no input. Put them at the acknowledgement section. But the keyword is you must acknowledge them somewhere. Okay. So just some simple representation from the left to the right. So from the left is more on the authorship. So to the right is more on the ownership. Yeah. So students, don't worry. So if you're not a student who are attending this session now, maybe you're working in the laboratory somewhere, you're a research officer or something. If you are doing the experiment, the data is generated. You generated the data. You wrote the paper. You analyzed the data. You wrote the paper. You should be the first author, okay? Because the word here is simple, make the figures mean. Your figures cannot be made if you don't have the data. You don't have the data if you don't do the experiment. So if you do the experiment, you should be the first author. Yeah, as simple as that. So moving along the line to the right, more or less on the ownership. Yeah, ownership basically those who, for students, your SVs, because you are still under his supervision. And also for a big group research group, normally the ownership, you can have the small project leader or the program leader, depend, you can discuss this among yourself. Yeah, but the keyword is the corresponding author normally are the one who are going to reply for any kind of correspondence from anywhere in the world. Yeah, he or she should have the authority to answer correctly. Okay. What else? So for the abstract, now we have the title, we have the author. Now we're down to abstract. So normally abstract will be not more than 250 words and not less than 150 words, depend on the journal requirement. Please pay special attention to this, because if you don't follow these requirements, normally the system will not accept your submission system. You'll be rejected by the computer. Okay, not even the editor. Okay, the system will put a warning there. Your number of words are now exceeds the allowable limits. Please amend. All right. Okay, why abstract is important? Because this is the first part of the paper that is going to be referred to by reader. Okay. Sometimes when you have lots of papers that you have downloaded, now we seldom print now. We save it as PDF. Yeah, you have just downloaded 50 papers. Which one to read more compared to the others? You want to read more because it is more useful to what you are doing. So how to read, how to know which is useful or not? Very easy. Go to the abstract section, because abstract will contain everything. Yeah, the title and we can go along, right? So abstract, I don't have the keywords here. Maybe keywords comes later. So what constitute an abstract section? So the component myself and Dr. Azman is suggesting is that it should, number one, the first line should be addressing the background of the problem that you are working on. Okay, for example, if you are working on making use of oil palm biomass, for example, I'm just giving some example, yeah, oil palm biomass. Okay, so what is the problem with an oil palm biomass in Malaysia or anywhere else in the world? Okay, remember, you are doing research not just for the sake of doing research. You are doing research because there is a research gap that you are addressing. You are doing it because you want to add something new. You want to suggest something. Yeah, that's why you do research. So the why you do research is number one and number two. Background of the problem, then problem statement is sometimes known as research gap. Okay, so this is where you are trying to address. Okay, remember, all these number 1 to number 7, not more than 250 words. It takes some skills to write all this. Okay, so problem statement, then you what the proposed solution? Okay, so proposed solution is your main take home point in your manuscript. Okay, because in your proposed solution you will follow it up with number 4. You said, I'm going to propose to use this, so this is I'm going to do it, methodology. And by using this kind of approach, these are the results that I'm getting, number 5. Okay, and number 6. And from this result and from the discussion that I made with my small research team, my students, we are going to suggest this and the conclusion. Okay. Sometimes number 7 now, element of novelty is required. Depends on the journal itself. Yeah. So, but remember, you have to write this less than 250 words. So, for methods, only include statistical analysis part. Result, the most important ones. We don't want to see all the numbers here. Only if you insist on putting the numbers, only put the numbers that maybe that you have optimized. These are the optimized conditions for it. Okay.
Dr. Zainul.
Yes, saya.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
According to these guidelines, is it the proposed solutions is referred to the objective?
Boleh juga.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, boleh juga. Proposed solution tu adalah basically you are proposing to
Solve the problem, right?
solve the problem using this and this. Bolehlah katakan objektif. Boleh juga kalau tak nak itu, you gantikan dengan therefore it is the objective of this study. So basically kita dah boleh menjawab that is the proposed solution as well as the objective of your work.
Alright.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Ini paper dah lama. This is a paper from my master student last time. Nabil's paper. It still got cited until now. And Nabil, I'm happy to share that your paper now, I think there are more than 100 citations. Okay, thank you very much, Nabil, for this good paper. This is my work with Dr. Abbas, so from SKT. Okay, some of the abstract. So from the component just now, the background of the problem. Okay, look at the title, preparation and characterization of AC that you are preparing from this one. To do what? To remove dye. So you have now depends on you which area you want to address. You want to address the area of poorly treated biomass, or the area of low, or you can always improve the quality of the carbon available, or you want to, the area they're addressing is about the pigment pollution, dye pollution in the environment. So it depends. So in this case, we are telling straight away from our very first line, the discussion in this manuscript is geared to, at the end of the day, to have a better solution to remove dye from, in this case, pigment containing wastewater. Yeah. So that's the background of the problem. You decide which problem, which area you want to address. Right? You decide. Okay, that's the background. Then what else I have? After the background, you straight away mention the research gap. So the gap that I'm mentioning here is, definitely don't tell me we have a problem with water pollution by pigment, but nobody has a solution. We have a solution, but what is the problem with the current solution? You mentioned that the current solution creates secondary pollution that requires further disposal. Okay, so lepas tu, this is your proposal or the objective. So you boleh cakap, therefore, maybe you cannot get away with the secondary pollution. You said that the carbon you need to dispose of, but you can suggest maybe raw materials that can be bought cheaper, or the process of producing the carbon is much less compared to the conventional technique. Yeah. So you put here, yeah, this is a suggestion. Yeah. So this is the proposed solution. Use different kind of waste, converted into acetic carbon. Okay. Then you have the methodology. Wow. 50% of the abstract is just about methodology. Okay, please pardon me and my team. This is like a very old slide. Yeah. So blah blah blah. Again, remember, only include the most important methodology only. You don't have the space or the words available to write everything. Okay, most important results only. Okay, highest, lowest, optimize, up to you. Then try to conclude. Simple. Kan? Senang. InsyaAllah. Tapi for students, ya, kalau untuk student, be careful. Bukan be careful lah. Always have this in mind. Do the draft, have the draft, pass the draft to your SVs for he or she to go through and suggest, right? And for those who are not in the academia, maybe your research institution or something, draft and pass it to your immediate superior in the laboratory or in your unit. Okay, then revise, improve, then send it. But the keyword here is get it reviewed first within your team. Okay. Sometimes when you write, you may have missed or skipped some of the more important things in your writing. Right? Have it reviewed by somebody in your circle first. Right? Okay. Then come the keywords. This should be the slide before abstract. Yeah. So keywords should reflect the subject matter in the same way the title of the manuscript should. Okay, you look at the second bullet, more the keywords may already be present in the title. Okay, some of the journals require that you put the keywords not using the same words that you already use in the title. Okay, so some journals require that, depends on the requirement, but I think you get what I'm trying to say here. So the keywords is basically what, if people search, if people Google, if people use the search engine, they type the keywords would lead to your paper. So you basically, you know what your paper is all about. Yeah. So the number of keywords should not be more than 5. Some allow until 6. Yeah. What else? Okay, after the abstract keywords, then the introduction section. Introduction is very important because it serves as an orientation for readers, giving them the perspective they need to understand. Okay, basically introduction is an elaboration of the background of the problem as well as the current solution. For me, introduction, my personal take on this, is an elaboration on the background of the problem and the research gap. And because you have to remember that you're not writing a thesis, you're not writing an expert report, you're writing a paper. So normally you have to really plan how many pages you are going to allocate for introduction, how many for methodology, how many for R&D, because basically it's not definite. Basically when your papers would take up around 7 to 8 pages in its published form in the journal. So one page normally would be around 3 pages of A4 size paper, double spacing. Yeah. So if you are only allowed 8 pages, let's have maybe 1 page only for introduction, 1.5 page maybe for methodologies. Yeah. Then the rest maybe 4 to 5 for result discussion, and maybe 1.5 pages for conclusion, acknowledgement, and references. Yeah, so you have to really plan how many pages. Yeah, for introduction, it can be up to for double space. Yeah, maybe 3 to 4 pages. Yeah, try to plan. Yeah, so how to plan? You can do it by ensuring that the stuff that you're putting in are only those who are maybe not less than 5 years references. Yeah, maybe not 2021, maybe up to 2016 only. Yeah, so we can try to do it. So also you can, at the end of the day, you can explain the novelty of the work and also discuss the objective and significance of the work. Do I have an example for this? Let's see. Okay, maybe we can number 1, background. Number 2, problem statement. Number 3, current approach. Number 4, alternative approaches available. Yeah. So because number 2, there's a problem, definitely there's an approach now, there's a solution now. So your work is to suggest an alternative approaches or an addition to the current approach. This is what you are going to report. Number 5 is your choice, be specific. Number 6 is objective and scope of your study. All these should be in your introduction section. All right. Some take home points. Maybe let's not try to attempt to write a mini review on the subject here. Fine, you can do this, but save these on the result and discussion section later. Yeah, but not in the introduction section. Okay. Okay, that's for introduction. After introduction, we have the M&Ms, materials and methods. Again, there are cases a paper was downgraded from minor revision to major revision because of improperly prepared materials and methods section. Okay, so please pay special attention to always include, if you're using chemicals, to always include molecular weight of the chemical that you're using, the brand of the chemical, the make, of the chemicals. Please put it, always have it written together in your manuscript. Then if you are using analytical techniques, the operating conditions must be there explicitly mentioned. Okay, you are running it at what temperature, what's the volume involved, the size of the vessels, okay. It's not most, some of the authors tend to forget to include all this. Okay, they are saying they are using UV vis, they are using FT, they are using HPLC. as if we know what the model. Okay, why is model and make important? Because by mentioning the model and make, people can gauge the accuracy. People can gauge whether that equipment that you are saying can give result that you are mentioning. Okay, if your equipment that you are saying is only able to give result up to 2 decimal points, how come your result you are showing you have 3 decimal points? See, all these are related. If you don't put, normally the reviewers will request for you to include it in your review if you're going to do some revisions later. Yeah, so be careful on this, right? Must include. Okay. Skills and methods. Do I have more slides on this? Oh, only one slide. Okay, just briefly, yeah. We can have maybe other sessions for specific stuff. So for R&D, design and discussions is the most important part of the manuscript. Remember, how you plan your manuscript. You only have like 8 pages, 7 to 8 pages would be allocated in a particular issue of a journal. So let's have maybe 4 to 5, 4 to 5, maximum of 5. Normally it's 4 pages reserved for your result discussion, because you would need to include some figures, some diagrams, some micrographs, some tables here. All this will be counted as the pages that you have used. So save the pages for this section. Okay, why? Because these are the informations that people is going to read. This is the section that the reviewer is going to pay a lot more time when they are reviewing your paper. All right, so sufficient number of figures in the table depends. This is one general guide only. Some journals allow up to 10 figures and tables. Some requires less than that, much less than that. I know some one of journal only allow 1 figure, 1 table. That's it. Okay, now you have so much data, you have a lot of to share, but they only allow you 1 figure, 1 table. Sakit hati kan? Tapi tak apalah. That's what their requirement is. So you want to publish them, follow their rules. Okay. So here is about, don't forget the discussion. If you don't have a discussion, if you don't discuss your data, most of the time the feedback reviewer will be the discussion is shallow or non-existent. Okay, now the paper is only of descriptive nature only. Okay, most of the time, what differentiate between works that get published in a journals that is in a higher position in the journals list, and those who are maybe in the middle or the lower rank, is the discussion part. Yeah. It's not enough just to share your data. It's not enough just to describe your data. For example, lowest is this one, highest is this one. So after optimize, I get this one. The discussion part will tell you, so what? That's where the discussion part comes in, so that you can share more info with the readers. Lowest, highest, so it will lead to this. Optimize, it will lead to this. This is the one that being sought after by readers, and also the first stage is the reviewer. Please, don't stop at describing your data only. Take some time to analyze and discuss your data. So discussion is not that difficult. Remember, the much earlier slides of this session just now, we write because we want to benchmark our findings. So how to benchmark is very important. After you analyze, you discuss, then you can compare, you can benchmark with those reported with by others. That's how we benchmark, so that people know that what we are showing here, what we are reporting here, is also of use. It will give the same result, not the same result, but using different materials. Okay, then they know, oh, now if I want to work with researcher from Malaysia, I can now start working with this guy because he has reported that he can use his he can use his resources in his country to come up with a more or less same performance like what I have in my country. See, that's how we start to network. It's all about the publication stuff. Maybe also if I can share the earlier part just now, I forgot so many things. If you are in the academia, publication more or less is your currency. It sits right up there in your record as an academia. So as well, if you are working in the research institutions, yeah, I'm very, very sure apart from coming up with new guidelines, yeah, new operating procedures for us to follow, apart from providing service to others, yeah, you are also required to publish, yeah. So publication would open so many other doors, okay. And also very easy to make sure that you don't left out anything. Make sure that in your result discussion section, you answers everything that you mentioned in your methodology section. If you say that you're going to characterize, here people would expect to see the result of the characterization. If you say that you're going to measure such and such, using HPLC lah, as whatever, the result should be here. Okay? So that you don't leave out anything. Then after that, oh ada pula kat sini komponen dia. Yeah? Kerana masa sudah pukul 11 pagi. Alright, so saya rasa for this particular slide, I've elaborated along the way from the previous slide. Okay, maybe number 4, you can add this one. This is, remember you have data. You pull your data, you tabulate your data, then you analyze, then you discuss, then you suggest number 4. What good is it the result to your field, right? Boleh saya teruskan ke?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Sebab tadi ada pop up somebody is raising hand. Kalau boleh kita discuss lepas ni ya. Yang saya ada,
Okay.
insyaAllah kita boleh discuss bersama.
So this we will open the Q&A session.
Yeah, sure, insyaAllah. Saya cuba ambil dalam 15 minit lagi lah, tak lama.
Boleh.
Lepas result discussion, now we come to the conclusion part. Okay, conclusion part. Okay, this is my personal take. Some authors may have some different look on this section, but if for me, I would always look as a reviewer also, I will always look for a very short and concise conclusion section. Say I will normally not more than 2 or 3 sentences, yeah. And number 2 is very important, whether the objectives were achieved. Don't worry if you don't achieve your objective, just mention if it's not achieved because of what? Maybe because due to some limitations, yeah. Don't worry, just say the achievement of your objectives is very important. Then number 3 and 4 is basically bonus but required. Yeah, so we know that this is only a part of work in your area, so have some idea how people can take your finding forward. Yeah, so okay, the don'ts here is some of the mistakes, yeah, people tend to do. They would take the opportunity in the conclusion section to basically like summarize their findings. Okay. Sometimes when you are the reviewer, you baca you geram. Okay. Alamak, why should I read this again? Imagine you dah scrutinize kat result discussion section ni, dah pening baca, dah scrutinize. Now it appear again the conclusion section. So normally what we do is we just kalau saya lah, saya akan komen rewrite this section only blah 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 yang saya mention kat atas the do's tu. Okay, don't do it in half a page. Okay, this is not a summary section. Okay, lagi satu conclusion but nothing concluded. Alamak. Okay, So try to work on this. Okay. Okay, apa lagi? Conclusion dah. Acknowledgements. Give credit to funding authorities. Penting sangat. Ya. Kalau macam kita get the fundings from ministry, kalau macam kita dekat university, we got most of our fundings from KPT, and some of us also get from MOSTI and some other agencies. Okay. Please mention these funding authorities names and also the vote number, the grant number in your acknowledgement section. And also not forgetting to include your colleagues, okay, who have contributed either directly or indirectly in producing your work. Even though they're producing directly, if they don't produce a substantial work, put it them here. Yeah? But the keyword is to appreciate everyone. Okay. Sekejap, apa lagi ni? Minum sekejap boleh? Kopi dah sejuk. Bismillah. So reference styles depend on the requirement of the journal. So there are many platforms available now. You can just use it. Sometimes the publishing house itself, the Elsevier or Springer, they provide avenue for this. You can use, for example, Harvard style. You just copy and paste there. It will be turned. It will be reconstructed into the reference style required that you want to use. Okay. Okay, submitting. Okay, that was preparing your manuscript. Banyak kerja sebenarnya. Lepas prepare nak kena buat apa? Submit your manuscript. Okay. Okay, normally how you submit by an online journal submission. There's a special portal for this. If you go to a journal web page, try to look at the tab submit your paper here or online submission. Just click there. It will take you into a different system altogether where you can now submit your paper and make sure at this stage everything is ready. Because most of the time you only need to cut and paste your information into the tabs available. Okay, and the system you cannot save. You can only save after you are complete everything. Then only you can save and move, save and move to the next one. Okay, so make sure everything is ready before you start the journal submission process. Okay, because the things to include is manuscript, your manuscript, your cover letter, novelty statement, the highlights, tables and figures. If they require it to be in a separate file, you do it. If not, you can just put it together with your manuscript, main manuscript, and also same as diagrams. Okay, cover letter component, address the recipient, always normally the chief editor. Even though you're submitting for a special issue, for example, but you always send to chief editor. Why? Because when you submit, your submission will go to the chief editor or the editor-in-chief. Okay, so address him properly. How to know who he is or who she is? Go to the journal website. You'll get all the information that you want. Then a heading of letter, you must include the word submission, title of manuscript, and name of journal. Number of words. This is required. Yeah. The most important issue that you're addressing. This may be in your second or third paragraph in your cover letter. This is a cover letter. Then maybe one line of novelty statement. What is the novelty of your work? Try to come up with one statement on this. Then the most significant method, instrument tool that you are using. Maybe if you are using, people are using only MS, but you are using MS, and you think that's going to help the acceptance of your paper and would ensure a wider audience of your paper, wider readership, you can put that in your cover letter. Okay, because only you know the advancements of knowledge in your area. For me, if you ask me, I think MS is still like the thing. But if you are from analytical group, I don't know whether MS is the thing now. Maybe there's triple MS, I don't know. You can consider that in your cover letter. So last one is declaration. So what next? Maybe I have some example here. This is one paper example of calculator which as early as last year. Sorry, one year have passed. Okay, recipient here is the editor-in-chief. Heading just now, remember? Heading, submission, title of manuscript, name of journals, submission, title of manuscript, name of journals, number of words. You can use the word count function if you're using Microsoft Word. There's a word count function, but don't include the references. I'll tell you later why is it important. Why is it important? Yeah, number of words. So most important issue address, novelty, then declaration. You are declaring now here that you know that you submit somewhere else. The editor-in-chief, you have something somewhere else at the same time. The editor-in-chief has the right to retract what? The reviewing process of your paper. Okay. Okay, so what goes in the novelty statement? Maybe you can add how your work add to the existing knowledge. Yeah. Sometimes people, sometimes, yeah, not all the time. Maybe a very small percentage, yeah, who are scared when they heard the word novel. But my work is not novel. How do I know how novel is novel? For me, it can be answered by the second bullet. This is my personal opinion. Yeah, how your work add to the existing knowledge. Because if it's already adding to the existing knowledge, it's something new. People don't know about it before. Yeah, so it depends on the reviewer, depends on the editor-in-chief to decide later whether your description of novelty is acceptable or not. Yeah, but I think number 2 is okay. And if in the cover letter you need one statement only, but in the novelty statement you put it in the form of bullet normally like this. So you just put 2 or 3 statements. Okay, that will be sufficient. Okay, research highlights also required. Okay, 3 to 5 statements required, 1 sentence, not more than 80 alphabets. This is basically you want to highlight an important, or you want to highlight important findings from your work, important aspect of your work that more or less you can categorize it as an elaborated version of your keywords. Okay, remember when people are searching for some area, advanced area, if they search, people will be directed to your publication. That's what we want. Yeah. Okay, ni selesai, nanti boleh tengok lah sebab dah pukul 11 suku. Okay. Okay. Lepas research highlight, kita ada reviewers. Okay. Zaman saya dulu, tak ada kita boleh suggest. Masa saya belajar lah, you don't have the luxury to suggest the names of reviewers. Now, I think because of more and more papers being considered for publications, there'll be less time for the editor-in-chief to find reviewers for you. So now, you as the author has the luxury, okay, to suggest up to 5 names of proposed reviewers. Proposed reviewers is basically those who you think can critically comment on your work, but at the same time would give a more or less like supporting statement that would lead to your work to get for it to be published. Okay, and also now some journals offer the options for you to name researchers, okay, that you think will not do justice to your work. You can give their name. Don't worry, these names will not be exposed to the listed reviewer who you don't want to review your work. Okay, so this is a luxury. Why? Because remember the earlier part of my sharing just now, publication is a peer review process. Yeah. So it's about your colleagues like-minded people in your area, expert, who are going to read and suggest to the chief editor what's going to happen to your work. Yeah, so they have a real authority here. So as mentioned by this, I find this, Google this yesterday, I find this a very suitable, I think, to be included here. The power of the reviewer, yeah. They can suggest you to review, to accept as it is, to reject, yeah. So take home point is choose wisely. Okay, you must choose wisely because you must never underestimate the power of the reviewer. Okay. Apa lagi? Okay, so siapa nak jadi reviewer? Mungkin lah ya, kita boleh suggest. But namanya pun peer. Peer means colleagues, friends, kenalan, whatever. So your circle of friends, okay, maybe new friends that you're seeing in academic events, or you have friend comes visiting, or you are meeting them for the first time in conference, or you're meeting faces that you know, but you are only seeing them not every day. These are the kind of people that you can suggest to be a reviewer. Yeah. Also, you can use also your social media. Okay, I can categorize this as maybe social media and also academic social media. So for social media, you have platforms such as FB, Telegram, and also Instagram. These are people sometimes who you can also ask to be your reviewer. And also for ResearchGate, they call it as the Facebook of scientific publication. Yeah, ResearchGate. You can ask them also. You can name them because the information that the journal requires only the name, the affiliation, and justification. Normally justification you can just put as simple as choose this person because he's an expert in what. That's it. And most of the time, this is very important why tak ada kat situ kat tempat lain namanya. So you submit you completed this one, you proceed with submission. So what happens after submission? Okay, so it has been a grueling time. I would do such a thing like this, but can you hold a trophy now? Can you be like this this player from this team who plays in red, who always win things? Can you hold a trophy yet? No, not yet, not yet. Or can you be like the greatest sprinter of all time from Jamaica? This guy, can you celebrate yet? No, not yet, not yet. Why? Because after submission, what will happen? Okay, your paper will undergo initial screening by the journal editor or editorial team for what? To screen for appropriateness of the subject matter. Remember the scope. Yeah, the scope of the of your paper and the scope of the journal must match. If it's not appropriate, okay, you will be rejected by the system. The editorial team will say it's not does not fit within the scope of the journals. We wish you all the best for your next submission. Itu je dia jawab, simple je. Lepas tu dia tengok pula compliance with instructions, technical check. Those abstract stuff, those keyword stuff, the reference style, kena tak? Lepas tu macam tadi dia minta 5 total figures and tables, you letak 7. Kalau 7 dia akan kembalikan. It will return back to you. For overall quality, anything new, novelty statement, and language. Language may be the least weightage at this stage. Normally at the revision stage, you'll be asked for this one. So after, if everything okay here, then your paper will now undergo the reviewing process. So number 1, the editor-in-chief has the opportunity. He has the control of the system where he can choose reviewer for you. He can assign your paper to his list of reviewers in the system, it's up to him actually. Or he can also assign these to an associate editor, to handle your manuscript now. Okay. Then we have, okay, this is basically what the review process is all about. So after you submit, normally the review process can be as quickly as 21 days, or it can be as long as 3 months. Minimum of 2 reviews are required for the editor-in-chief to make decisions, and maximum of 5 depends on the editor-in-chief itself. Okay, after they got the comments, they will return it to you, and you please do the correction, amend your work according to the suggestion by the reviewers. After that, don't forget to submit the corrected version to the editor. Don't submit the original version. Submit the amended version that you have made corrections. Okay. So author will be issued a acceptance letter. Until then, you get your completion of the process. So remember, again, the take-home point here is that it's a peer review process. Okay, don't worry if your paper get rejected. Why? Because it was only reviewed by a minimum of 2 experts in your area. So only these 2 things that your work is not suitable will be published now. So with the comments, you can amend your work and send it somewhere else. Okay, it's a peer review process. Okay. What else do I have here? Criteria. Okay, these are the guide for the reviewer to when they read and make decisions. Okay. So again, look, language, abstract, interpretations and conclusions. Interpretation study ni, discussions, theoretical methods, okay, describe comprehensively, molecular weight, standard method that you are using, model and make of equipments, the vessels that you are using, the units that you are using, all these need to be prepared comprehensively. Okay, there are different types of decision available, except as it is minor revision, major revision, ataupun reject terus. Some of the options available for the reviewer to recommend to the editor-in-chief. Okay, why? Remember, you have still remember the slide 44 about the reviewers, about the don't underestimate the power of the reviewer just now. Why? Because normally chief editor or associate editor, they would seriously consider the recommended reviewers that you recommend. Why? Because imagine if they have to handle 10 or 15 submissions per day, for them to find reviewer for you for every single paper, how many hours they need to spend. Okay, so if you suggest, normally they will just tick add, send invitation to review. Okay, very easy. That's why when you want to suggest reviewers, choose wisely, because normally the list that you are suggesting will be seriously considered for review process. Okay, some examples of the comments and the results by reviewer. These are for minor revision, paper with minor revision results after review. No problem with abstract. Okay, introduction. Okay, there are no major things. Okay, maybe you did not mention about volume sampling method. It's very like the thing that you know that the author can address very quickly. Okay, so this is one example of a paper with minor revision output. For major revision, normally the marks are around 60, 50. So look at the why this paper needs to be revised heavily. Again, molecular weights are not there. Okay. They are using certain mediums, but did not mention the source. How did they prepare the medium? Yeah. So I mean, like, the materials and methods were not prepared comprehensively. If I'm going to repeat the experiment, I cannot, because there are so many missing informations. Okay. Then look at the design discussion section. You discuss, but it's not specific. Okay. Tak boleh lah. Tak apa. I'm sure some of you faham apa saya maksudkan dengan general semua tu. Lepas tu, statement is vague. Kalau ada start keluar vague ni, bahaya. Macam ni, 3 sections pun not properly discussed. Now descriptive, habis. Memang dapat major lah. Tetapi yang bagusnya, scientific merit ada. Cuma tidak diolah dengan baik. Sebab tu, we give them second chance to submit again with the information that we require here. Okay. So, this is another example major revision. Ambil kau 2 page dia bagi. Yang Insan, jawab lah. Nanti saya boleh share lah ni. Reject normally yang bawah 50 lah. Teruk sangat. Look at the introduction section. This study merely reported on the use. Okay. Imagine, remember saya kata tadi pasal novelty. If it adds to the existing body of knowledge, you can consider it as novelty. But this one, ada tapi dia tak highlight. Without highlighting its major significance compared to various previous studies reported. Dia sendiri yang tak highlight. So, bukan salah kita lah. Ya? Yang bila kita review. So, metodologi pun, procedures pun tak cerita habis, R&D habis. So, last, sekejap lah. Ni pun sama. Ini saya copy satu komen daripada different authors ya. Different reviewers ya. They are the experimental phenomena reported in this paper. Discussion analysis mechanism not full. The study not complete. Suggestion reject. Terus. Okay. Satu paper you nak tulis tu, komen dia 2 line je. 2 lines saja. Komen dia. Maknanya betul-betul tak memuaskan hati. Okay, another example of reject. Mula-mula dipuji. Overall scientific content merited publication in journal. However, currently result presented was derived from a single experiment only. Alamak, tak ada statistical analysis lah pula. Dia run sekali je eksperimen dia. Macam mana nak terima kan? Okay, that's it. If you don't run experiments in a good number of repetition, good analysis, memang tak boleh terima lah. So another example of rejected submission. Okay, cuma don't worry, selalunya kita akan ada lebih daripada, di bawah tadi, to make decision you need 2, sometimes it can be up to 5. You look here seorang major, seorang accept, seorang reject. Yang selamatkan paper ni, reviewer 2 sebab dia accept. So, tak boleh kita nak, we cannot just discount his views, reviewer 2 and reviewer 1, even though there are 2 reviewers who suggested reject. So at the end of the day, we ask the author to revise the manuscript. Okay, revision process. Okay, basically lah if you ask me, you dapat email revision process ni, basically you have won half of the battle. Sangat jarang. It's very unlikely that after you revise your paper, you'll get rejected. Pernah. I've come across some situation macam tu. The chief editor did not approve one particular paper even after revising. Okay. Even though myself, we have recommended for the acceptance. However, there are other reviewers who don't think the same way. The editor-in-chief rejected the revised version. Yeah, There are cases like that. But frankly speaking, if you get the revised version, you got the request to revise your work, 50% of the battle kita dah menang. You have won 50% of the battle to get your paper published. Okay? And yes. Okay, now you can do something like this. Okay, but still, you cannot still leave the trophy yet. Okay, you cannot be like this captain of this football team who plays in red, who always winning things. Okay, not yet. Why? You still need to make the revision. Okay, because the revision of the script is basically if it's like in an athletics, it's the last sprint. If you are doing a relay event, it's the last leg, the last runner, because in front of you the home straight, you can see the finishing line. Yeah, that's why I'm very confident to say that very unlikely that your paper will get rejected after it is being asked to be revised. Yeah, because the finishing line is in front of you, right? Cuma what you need to do now is to answer to every queries by the reviewer. If you have 3 reviewers, you may have 3 sets of comments. Don't worry. Some of their comments might be overlap between one another. So you can use the amendments that you've made and use it to answer their comments. Okay. These are examples which has comments reviewer which been made by my student very recently. Okay. Lepas tu, you can also when you submit the corrections made, the amended version, you can highlight which one you have amended, or you can use the tracker function if you are using Microsoft Word. And always remember to resubmit the revised version of your script. Don't submit the original version. Okay? Apa lagi? Lama dah cakap ni. Okay. Yang ini actually the real photograph which I took in UTM last time. This is a view from UTM Stadium. This is around 6 p.m. It's about to rain's gonna pour any minutes. But what's significant is that at the horizon there, there's some sun setting in. Okay, so I think it's very aptly to use this kind of wordings which I find very popular. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. Yeah. So remember daripada awal tadi kita buat apa? Preparing manuscript, macam-macam. Lepas tu submission of manuscript, revising a manuscript. All your times in the world you are spent for this. Don't worry, because at the end, the golden sky will be for you to get the winning notification from the editor. Kita nak tengok perkataan ni je sebenarnya. Accepted, itu je. Okay. What you normally would look for in this kind of email, panjang ke, tak kisahlah. You want to see the accepted saja. Right? Yes, now you can celebrate. Finally, now if you want to leave the trophy like the team who plays in Reds and always winning things tu, dah boleh angkat. You can be like Azizul Hashani, our Kirin, our world-class Kirin rider. So you can go to holiday. If you already get your second dose, you can plan for a holiday. Oh, paling pun we can have a stay tarik. Dekat sini. Okay, this is time to celebrate. Penat tau tulis paper. Okay. Okay, maybe some reasons for rejection ya. Nanti you boleh baca lah ni ya. Because most of this I've discussed with all of you in my previous slides before this. Okay. Nanti boleh refer lah ya. Apa lagi? Some take-home points. So, what makes a paper publishable in journals with impact factor? GIF, new literature is relevant, new knowledge, yeah. Careful dengan novelty tadi tu. If it's addition to a current knowledge pun dah kira novelty, tak ada masalah. Methodology must be clearly explained, professional presentation, following guidelines of the authors. Okay. Number 6, it has to fall within the scopes of the journals. Sangat penting. And also the English proficiency, kena you can improve on that. Right? Lagi ada? Okay, just to conclude, it's like running a marathon. Okay. Yeah, but the rewards are there. Satisfaction, yeah. Okay, ada lagi gambar ni. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. Okay. Okay, also some of the rewards are some sort. Maybe, yeah, this zaman-zaman KPI, this KPI, everybody being prescribed or being, everybody has their own targets in terms of outputs if you're an academia that you need to produce every year. That's good. But if you write because you want and you need to write because you care, along the way, your KPI will take care of itself, like what's being mentioned by our previous Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research Innovation for UTM, who are now our VC. He always stressed that don't worry so much about this ranking thing, don't worry so much about this KPI, just do what you need to do. KPI will take care of itself along the way. Yeah, how true is he? Yeah. And also, you can also contribute back to the nation and society as well as beyond. Okay, that's why start is our work in the first place. Contoh apa yang kita, maybe some examples is that hopefully all of you, maybe the young ones here, the senior one, please give some nice feedback. The young ones, maybe when you publish, you have a good track record later, you can have the opportunity to be invited, okay, to write a review paper. For example, because you can write review paper, but you can at the same time be invited to write a review paper. You can use this as your some sort of achievement in your academic life. Because these are basically by invitation only. Is carry some sort of a prestige in your academic life. And this can only be achieved if you continue publishing, you start publishing, continue publishing, and ensure that you are sharing good work with others. And also it will open up many doors. As an academic, I still remember one of my professors in Faculty of Science last time, Professor Marcian, he mentioned, for us academia and scientists, our language is publication, our language is formulas. It opened up so many doors. How true is he? Because I think by publishing, it has taken me to places which I don't think I've imagined of going. For example, like this one, based on the invitation of my colleagues here, Cristobal. This is in Saltillo last time in Mexico, and also this is in India last time, and this is in Semarang, Indonesia. This is when pre-COVID time, definitely. And also, I'm coming up to my last slide now. Sincere acknowledgements to Dr. Fatah. In here, the guy with the yellow arrow here, because he's wearing yellow shirt. Who has invited me to a very bright young staff, very bright young researcher, who have who always make himself available. Which is a very good trait for a young researcher. Fatah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share. I think last time in this is actually the first opportunity that I have to make sharings with UTM staff and students. Before this, I've had opportunity to do similar stuff, similar opportunity sharing about publication here, like with students in CONICET, students in Mexico, and also in Indonesia. Fatah, thank you very much for being the first to give me the opportunity to share with UTMians. Right, thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr.
Ya, belum lagi. Sabar, belum lagi.
Belum lagi. Oh, belum lagi.
Macam mana
Dengan
pun,
Nabila,
kita
because
kena,
you have a couple of question here.
yes,
Yeah.
macam mana pun kita kena acknowledge team kita. And never
Okay.
forget our
Silakan.
students and basically most of it our students who have come up with good research and good data for it to be allowed for us to be published in various journals. Yeah. Lepas tu, last kali Fatah, kita kena highlight universiti kita sendiri, gambar dia macam ni. Ini gambar daripada Farizal. Dia kata gambar ni free, saya upload kat sini. So with that, I think I would stop here and would love to take some comments or questions if there's any. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zainul, for the informative talk. Okay, here with me, I have a couple of questions. The first one is
Saya nak stop sharing ke?
tak apalah, biar dulu.
Okay.
We have from Dr. Aida Rashidah. I'm sorry if I'm not addressing you properly. Okay, the questions, sometimes the reviewers suggested to cite certain papers, although they are not really relevant in the context of the manuscript. But because the reviewers have the power to suggest for acceptance or rejection, we sort of had to agree with the reviewer's suggestion, although it's unrelated to the subject matter. Is there a way to politely reject the suggestions? She want to rebut.
Okay, macam mana selalunya lah what you can do is try to just incorporate the suggested reviews, the suggested references in your work. Maybe you can try to include it in some sort of statement supporting your discussion or something. But if you ask me, if the reviewer is suggesting something like that, just follow what he's suggesting. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
Okay, so the answer, we should follow the suggestion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Rashidah, hopefully you can.
Is she the new staff in chemistry?
I'm not sure.
I think yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
The second one.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, Okay, from Asma, Assalamualaikum, Waalaikumsalam. I have one question. Previously, I got rejection from both reviewers and editor, decided to reject the paper at the end. One of major comments is that the figure for TEM image is not with actual scale. I cropped the photo in order to make the structure clear. I have the actual figure with scale actually. In that case, I should send an email. Should I send an email to clarify the comments or move on to another journal? Thank you.
Okay, Asma, is it your name? Asma or Asma just now?
Asma.
I think the decision is there already. It means the paper is now has been classified as rejected. Betul ke?
Reject.
Reject
Yes.
kan? Okay. So if it has been rejected, basically you cannot
Find another journal.
Yeah, you cannot communicate and justify again to the editor-in-chief because the decision has been made. So my suggestion is that try to amend your paper as suggested by the reviewers and chief editor, and improve your paper, and you can send it to some other journal, because if you want to send it again to that journal, basically you cannot send the same content, the same title. Yeah, because there's always some a buffer period that you cannot send a rejected paper normally within 1 year after it has been rejected. Yeah, so you can opt to send to, I don't know, hundreds of journals, other journals available. Yeah, you can try. Yeah, but it's good actually to get a critical comments like that so that you can improve your work. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any questions from the audience? you can reach directly to the speaker.
You can also switch on your mic. Shouldn't be a problem.
Assalamualaikum, Dr.
Assalamualaikum
Zainul.
warahmatullah. Yes.
I wanted to ask about being about related to rejection. I do understand that if we being rejected in the earlier phase, I mean before we reach to the what do we call that, editor, meaning that we didn't have enough, I mean, in terms of our cover letters insufficient, so on and so forth. But once reached the editor and it is rejected without any reason, because I experienced few rejection without reasons, without a strong reasons, and without feedback. So until now, I didn't know how to modify the article, and I'm not that sure what should I do with the article I've submitted to Q1, and perhaps I said might be it's not that good as Q1, then I lower down to Q2 and also being rejected, but I'm not that sure why it's being rejected, because even the reviewer or the editor didn't give much feedback. So I would like to ask for your suggestion or your recommendation. What should I do, or what's your suggestion?
Okay, thank you very much, Shazwan. Most of the time, this is not the definite answer, but if I can, based on some experience, most of the time, if not all of the time, it is because of two things. Number one, it doesn't fall within the scope of the journal. You have good finding, you have good data, you have all the statistical analysis to back you up, you have even incorporated computational analysis. However, it is not within the scope of the journal. Okay, so the editor-in-chief has the upper hand and the right to say that I think at the rejection letter, it will mention that I wish you all the best in something to other journals, meaning that your work is good, but not directly benefiting his or her journals, as that he acted as the chief editor. That's number one, means it outside of the scope. Number two, you have to pay special attention to the novelty aspect of your work. Because that's why the importance of cover letter, because the cover letter is actually the one that sometimes we don't even read on. Like if you had the opportunity later to serve as editor-in-chief, associate editor, we don't even read the cover letter. However, there are some editor-in-chief who are maybe in a high impact factor journals who would go for this one first, where he will look at your cover letter. That's why your statement in the cover letter about the novelty is very important. So if he or she thinks that you are stating this, your statement does not reflect the immediacy, the immediacy for the journal to publish your work, then he has the upper hand to reject outright. Okay, it's about actually how you write, actually how you present your in the form of writing sebenarnya. Itu sangat penting. So if you ask me again, it's about scopes and lack of novelty of your work. It's not about materials, it's not about discussion, that comes later. Tapi kena meet these two requirements first. So pemilihan jurnal sangat penting supaya dia tidak mengalami macam kes yang saudara alami ni lah. Means rejected without going through the reviewing process. Don't worry, ada banyak lagi jurnal kita boleh cuba. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Zainul, I have another one question in the chat. Salam Doctor, Waalaikumsalam. I think this is from Dr. Azimah. Certain journal did reject manuscript because of original reason. Yes, the manuscript in for our region. How to properly address the manuscript that is regional?
Okay, faham. Contoh dia macam manuscript, nama jurnal tu tropical journal, ya. Tak pun journal for the scientific study of Antarctica. Okay, tak pun nama jurnal tu for example saya bagi Indian Journal of Experimental Biology. Ya. Tapi kalau macam ada perkataan tropical, Antarctica, semua ni dia memang bersifat eksklusif. Ya. So if you try to nama pun dah tropical kan. Kalau you cerita pasal plants which dekat tundra region dekat Russia, payahlah. Ya. Dekat Hokkaido ke kan dah tundra region tu kan. So bit difficult for it to be included in those kind of journals. Jadi saya rasa itu yang dimaksudkan oleh Azimah tadi. Jadi apa yang Azimah boleh buat adalah cuba untuk be very specific. If you have the materials, fine, silakan boleh hantar ke a specific thematic journals macam tu. Kalau tak, boleh hantar ke jurnal-jurnal yang lain, tak ada masalah. Ya.
Okay, Dr. Azimah, harap itu menjawablah. Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, I think that's all. Maybe Dr. Zainal, one question from me.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, silakan.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Saya Farizal. Saya ada 2 soalan. My first question is, what is your advice to young lecturers or academicians? If they can only focus to one, should they aim for quality publication or quantity? And the second question is, what should we do during this pandemic time? It seems that technical data or lab work data seems difficult or slow to get. Any suggestion to remain
Competitive. Faham.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Farizal. For all of information, Farizal is the owner of the photo here. Nice photo, brother. All right, so number 1, you want to remain quantity, you want to focus on quantity or quality? Okay, I think that one also relate to your second question. Sebab now is the period where students access to laboratory will only be limited to like 20% capacity until further notice. You are still in the phase 1 of PKP. So with limited data collection activities, what you can do is, for me, number 1, focus. Try to outreach. Macam mana review paper ke? Boleh macam tu. Sebab technical lah. Sometimes kita dah habis data dah. Saya pernah buat, pernah cuba team up dengan colleagues di tempat lain. Okay. For example, saya ada rakan di negara lain yang bidang lebih kurang dengan saya. Tapi make sure kerjasama kita tu baik lah. We trust one another. Saya offer kat dia, is it possible for me to assist some of your work? For example, kita boleh buat analysis for them. Kita boleh buat computational analysis for them. Kita boleh, maksud saya, yang tak perlu melibatkan data collection. That's number 1, networking. Number 2, kalau untuk kita sendiri di Makmal, mungkin kita boleh resorted kepada review paper lah ya. Because it's not review paper, tapi key dia mesti dalam bidang yang kita, expertise kita. Okay, review paper. Sebab saya baru-baru ni saya pernah reject satu paper. A very good paper. I must say it's a very good paper. Q1 lagi. Tapi saya reject. Sebab author dia 7 orang. None of them cite their own work in that review paper. Meaning, it's not their area. They are writing a review in the area which they are not expert in. For me, ethically, that's not right. So saya komen kat kawan saya editor-in-chief, saya reject, saya cakap, reason saya, none of them cited their work. Means, saya personally search, memang diorang tak buat kerja dalam bidang tu. So, kalau nak buat review boleh, zaman-zaman sekarang ni buat review, tapi dalam area yang kita expert, tak ada masalah. You can ajak kawan-kawan, pull a team, set up a team to write a review paper. Sekarang tak payah fikir siapa first author lah, siapa kedua author, tak ada masalah. That comes later. Yeah. Do first. Do first. There are thousands of journals out there. So to remain competitive, to remain productive, the word is do first. Don't fret on the small stuff. Oi, aku lagi banyak tulis, aku nak jadi post author. Jadilah kalau saya, tak ada masalah. Yang penting, at the end of the day, affiliation UTM ada kat sana. And you will still be recorded as the co-author, first author in that particular paper. Tak ada masalah. So, if you answer me, quality ke quantity, quality tu bergantung kepada output kita. Yang boleh dinilai, for example, macam sekarang ni, rank of the journal, kuartal berapa. Quantity boleh, tak ada masalah. Cuma kalau saya, semua data or results deserves to be published dalam high ranking journal. Semua data bagi saya. It's how you discuss your data, how you present it, how you, the extent that you are willing to go to work with your data. Itu penting. That will determine publish in Q1, Q2, Q3 and so forth. Yeah. So Farizal, kalau saya, do not stand still. Kalau data dah tak ada tu, memang difahami sekarang ni, either you can pull a team dekat sini, write review paper, tak pun, macam saya cakap tadi, network dengan rakan-rakan di tempat lain, universiti lain ke, negara lain ke, macam teknik saya cakap tadi, strateginya adalah offer your service, what you can assist them dalam penghasilan manuskrip. Ya? Okay, itu jawapan saya.
Okay, Dr. Farizal, hopefully that answer your questions.
Terima kasih,
Ada
Prof.
lagi tak yang nak tanya? Dr. Zainal, my question is related to the review paper. Can you give more clarifications? What is the difference between regular review paper and systematic review paper?
Maksud sistematik tu apa ya?
Itulah. Saya pun ada jumpa juga term systematic tu dekat review paper. Kenapa dia letak systematic pun saya tak sure. Tu yang saya tanya ni.
Actually, I cannot answer because I'm not very well versed on the phrase that you're using. Ya, cuma kalau macam technical review paper ni is for normal issue actually. Ya, sebab selalunya kalau dalam publications there will be sections technical papers, short communication, lepas tu akan ada juga maybe 1 or 2 slots for review paper, tak banyak. Tapi sebab selebihnya untuk technical, normal technical paper. Jadi yang itu adalah normal review paper lah untuk normal issues. Systematic saya tak pasti. Cuma kalau ada juga macam untuk special issues, it will be allocated untuk certain review paper macam saya share tadi tu. Alhamdulillah dapat ada kawan ajak sumbang satu review paper untuk special issue tu. Dan juga macam ada satu pula journal, memang nature dia publish only review paper tapi itu based by invitation sahaja. Itu pun ada. Yeah, so I'm sorry I cannot elaborate sebab I'm not very well versed on systematic review paper. What is it all about?
Okay, thank you. It's okay, Dr. Zainul. Maybe we can address one more last question from Khalid. He asked how to write a high level of paper that explain and present a new accomplished LEED certified project. LEED, LEED certified project. I'm not sure what is it.
LEED certified project. Okay. Kalau siapa nama dia? Syamsul? Khalid, okay. Basically, macam saya mention tadi tu, semua paper structure-nya sama. Ya. Title, bla bla bla, introduction, materials and methods, result and discussion, conclusion. Any inputs or any contents are required to fulfill, or any areas are required to fulfill all this. all these requirements are expected to be fulfilled. Tak kisah macam tadi LEED ke, siapa yang buat bidang yang lain-lain ke, requirementnya sama. Jadi kalau macam tuan publish bidang yang tadi tu, kita expect tuan ada satu problem yang jelas yang tuan nak address. Lepas tu puan nak, bila dah ada problem ni, tuan akan propose teknik macam ni. Lepas tu tuan ada methods yang kita boleh nilai tadi tu yang lengkap, komprehensif. Ya, komprehensif method tu. Semuanya lengkap supaya orang boleh replicate kalau orang nak replicate. Lepas tu result pula kena deskriptif. Lepas tu tuan berjaya discuss apakah kegunaannya result tadi tu kepada orang lain yang membaca. Jadi basically you have to have this in mind to get it published, because the requirements of a journal tu selalunya biasa, sama. Tak kisah Q berapa pun, requirementnya sama. Cuma the extent of discussion tu yang selalunya menyebabkan dia berbeza, dia punya impact factor. Kerana apa? If you discuss more, many more people will benefit. It will be cited more. If it's going to be cited more, it will reflect on the, macam tadi saya mention tadi tu, impact factor, number of citation over number of papers tadi tu. So dia actually interrelated. Jadi kepada Tuan Khalid tadi tu, kena boleh cuba untuk hasilkan manuskrip yang memenuhi syarat tadi tu. Yang komponen tadi tu mesti kena ada. Yang paling penting sekali result discussion punya part tu. Dan juga metodologi. Itu sangat penting. So tak kisah kita bidang apa pun, perlu mematuhi yang tadi tu. Itu jawapan saya.
Okay, hopefully that answer your questions, Khalid. Tuan Khalid. Okay, I think that's all for our discussions today. Yes, to those who are asking about the recording, we have recording for 2 sessions. No worry, later on I will share with the audience. So hopefully, perhaps after this, we can translate all the guidelines given by Dr. Zainul into a paper, inshallah. Okay. I think before we end our sessions, I would like to ask the audience to turn on the camera because we have a photograph session. Hey, Dr. Azman, are you ready for taking the... Yes, okay. Yes, our guy, Dr. Azman. Okay, audience, please switch on your camera for a moment. Okay, Dr. Azman, on your mark.
Ramainya audience, segannya. Dah ke?
I'm not sure. Dr. Azman, is it?
Done.
Done. All right. So that's all for our workshop for today. I would like to give special thanks to the speaker, Dr. Zainul, for being able to attend as speaker, and all the audience for giving up some of your time to attend these workshops. Thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you, everyone. You are free to leave.
Okay, terima kasih semua.